want this to fall over midway through the speech. Imagine you're a parent watching one of your kids and realizing that he's changed. He's become a teenager now, and that is to be expected, but there's something different. He's put on weight, he's become more antisocial, and he's just started to withdraw from everyone and hide in his room every chance he gets. You've heard him shuffling around in the night as if he's having trouble sleeping, and you haven't heard him talking about any new friends or heard him talk very much at all. You think that this may be just part of growing up, but it seems like this is being caused by something else. This is a scenario being experienced all throughout the world, and the cause is not just growing up. It's the phone you gave them years ago, before they could even tie their shoe. Phones have seeped into our everyday lives, and we are allowing it to poison the future of humanity. For parents far and wide, wanting a breather from your kids is a universal experience. Whether it's putting on a show, telling them to go play outside, or making them clean around the house, having some time to yourself when you have young kids is something all parents yearn for. And ever since the early 2000s, computers have been in a majority of family homes, and in 2007, the first phone became available. Within 2 decades, electronics have entered into almost every home in America and have become a staple for distraction. Now, in 2025, 25 years after computers were first invented, and 18 years after phones first debuted, using a tablet, television, or phone has become an often used strategy in parenting to get a moment to yourself. It's become commonplace for kids to get their own personal distraction device as well. This has further spread to schools, causing Texas to pass a law to ban phone usage by students in classrooms because it was becoming too large of a distraction and inhibiting students' ability to learn. Because of the rapid growth in the availability and power of electronics, parents today are forced to consider whether the effects are worth a bit of time to yourself. The fact that phones have become a near necessity in this day and age and are almost more accessible now is not a matter of debate. With the current generations, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, growing up with the internet, they have entitled the I generation. With this generation, it is becoming customary for parents to give their kids phones and iPads at a much younger age than ever before. Parents are giving their children iPads any time between 2 and 4 years old and giving them a smartphone around 11 years old. This, paired with technology's rapid advancement, makes a devilish duo that is pulling down the I generation. For the purpose of my thesis, there will be 2 distinct types of phones: smartphones and basic phones. An average smartphone has access to the whole internet, including contact capabilities, whereas basic phones oftentimes only have the capability to call and text. This distinction will be important later on. The next question is, what are the parameters of my thesis? The thesis focuses on the effects using a phone as a preteen and teen causes. This means that family computers will be outside the focus because of the added complexity. So why does any of this matter? The threat that phones have on young children is serious. It affects almost every area of their life, and when they develop with these disabilities, it can be detrimental to them in the future. Parents, it is your duty to prepare the next generation and your children as much as possible. If we allow the next generation to not reach the potential they are made to reach, then what will we do? Will they destroy everything on account of not being able to control their emotions? Will they run to an addiction plaguing them since middle school? No, because you decided to make a change before any of that. So what will be your first step in leading your children to become the best person that they can be? Thus arises the question, what should we do about it? Frankly, we need to take steps to get kids off their phones and into the real world, and I believe it's never too late to start. I argue that parents should avoid giving phones to preteens because the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. Those disadvantages include detrimental effects on your child's mental health, privacy, and mental development. Firstly, giving a phone to your child while their brain is still in developmental stages will cause serious concerns to their mental health. A common issue we all struggle with when having a phone is wanting to lie in bed before we go to sleep and scroll for a little while. However, not locking ourselves to a short time frame causes us to sleep for a shorter period, and according to the National Library of Medicine, the blue light worsens our sleep quality regardless of how long you sleep. This is because the blue light coming from your phone's screen reduces your body's natural production of melatonin, which is the hormone that causes you to feel sleepy at night. This is important because poor sleep has been linked to several different health issues, such as diabetes and depression. Simply giving your child a phone and opening up the opportunity for them to use it at night can cause life-altering issues down the line. Another concern for a child who has complete access to the online world is their self-worth. It is more than likely that they will start looking on social media platforms, which all use technology to feed the user with more content that they interact with, causing a feedback loop making the user stay on the platform for longer periods. This heavy social media use may cause depression, anxiety, loneliness, and suicidal thoughts. A majority of social media content is made up of images and videos showing the viewer how wonderful some other person's life is. And humans naturally compare themselves to others, and when someone compares their own busy, imperfect, normal life to an influencer who only shows the best part of their life, it creates an idealistic worldview and lifestyle. This may cause your child to feel like they aren't enough, which can create an anxious loop of possible failure in the child's eyes. This, in turn, can lead to anxiety, low self-worth, depression, and even suicidal ideation. Social media is a trap. And it's easy enough for an adult to see that. A young child most definitely cannot. Therefore, you need to be aware of these repercussions and keep your child away from social media. The final effect that worsens a child's mental health is addiction. Addiction is defined by the Merriam-Webster dictionary as compulsive, chronic, psychological need for a habit-forming substance, behavior, or activity, often having harmful physical, psychological, or social effects. It has been proven that phone addiction is a very, very real condition, and it can have effects including, but not limited to, stress, anxiety, behavioral dysregulation, a decrease in social capabilities, worse sleep, reduced physical activity, and negative comparison, according to the Nicklaus Children's Institute. Phone addiction plagues children, and at least half of teenagers are addicted to their phones, as a study conducted in 2015 by the Lakeside Behavioral Health System. Another study conducted in 2025 found that addictive screen use, not strictly the total hours, was the strongest prediction in suicidal ideation and self-harm risk among teens, according to the National Library of Medicine. Phone addiction creates issues that stick around, and even after over a year after breaking their addiction, people have exhibited higher levels of depression, anxiety, and aggression. Phones are addictive and pose an even greater threat to susceptible and undeveloped children than to adults. The small doses of dopamine that a children gets from online content is almost like a form of drug. It would casually give children a device that is, if not, just as addictive as many drugs around the world. And then we question why they have so many mental health issues and development concerns. Phones are dangerous when you stay ignorant to the repercussions of excess use, and children need the guidance of someone who can help them grow out of their ignorance. Privacy risks are another issue that we face. Cybersecurity is something that is to be learned, and the sooner the better. Cybersecurity is defined in the Merriam-Webster dictionary as the measures taken to protect a computer or computer system against unauthorized access or attack. There are many different ways you can help protect your information online. Using stronger passwords, not handing out information online, avoiding suspicious links, and staying on websites are all the basics. To a child, however, these are yet to be understood. A study was conducted annually by the DQ Institute between 2017 and 2023, focusing on the percent of youth between the ages of 8 to 18 who have experienced at least one cybersecurity attack, and had a sample of 350,000 youth from 100 different countries. The average percent of children who experienced a cybersecurity attack was 68%, with it peaking at 73% in 2022. This means that, chances are, 3 out of 4 children have had some sort of cybersecurity attack in their life. If your child has their own device, this increases the risk even more. Cybersecurity is something that is not to be taken lightly, and it is a parent's job to set the right measures in place to prevent their child from having to face these issues. Why is cybersecurity such an issue? Your personal data is gold to hackers and scammers, because it allows them to use it to get more data and sell it all to someone who most likely has malicious intent. Even the companies are trying to get your child's data. Companies have been using gamification and colorful graphics to lure in the children into giving up their data. Only letting your child use your phone helps to prevent them from doing risky things under the radar. It must be taught and shown to your children the dangers of the online world, and they must learn the importance of their data. Pedophilia is the highest concern when talking about the privacy of your child. And it has become more accessible for predators than ever before because of the high chances your child has leaked their data. Then, from their leaked data, your predators can get into contact with them, and by using AI, they can pose as anyone they wish. If your child isn't prepared for this, then it can have horrifying effects. An estimated 89% of sexual advances by a predator directed at children occur in internet chat rooms or through instant messaging. Another issue that we hear is with video games. Many games are online, allowing people of all ages to play together without even knowing age gaps. Some predators will play games that draw in younger players and then become friends with the child for the purpose of abusing them. This is happening everywhere online, and an estimated 500,000 predators are active each day, according to the FBI, which is dwarfed by the overall 6 billion people online each day, according to the analysis done at the start of April this year. This allows predators to slither around and prey on whomever they want with little to no interruption. However, if your kid only has access to your phone, you can easily monitor your kid's actions and who they are talking to. You must teach your child the signs and strategies that predators use, and monitor what sites your kid uses, monitor the people they talk to, and make sure that you put the restrictions on what they can do on any and all devices that they use. Mental development of a child is crucial. From birth to age 5, the brain grows rapidly. Between ages 6 and 8, social skills begin to shape. From around age 9 into early adulthood, the brain continues maturing, strengthening decision-making and self-control, and overall behavioral regulation. The first concern in your child's mental development is their behavioral control. A project was conducted by the American Psychological Association, where a team of researchers reviewed and analyzed 117 studies encompassing data from over 292,000 children worldwide. This study found that the more children engaged with electronic screens, the more likely they were to develop socio-emotional problems, such as internalizing feelings like anxiety and depression, and externalizing issues such as aggression and hyperactivity. Because of this, children were more likely to turn back to their screens as a coping mechanism. Further, certain brain structural changes related to cognitive control and emotional regulation are linked with digital media addiction. All of these effects are changing the pathways in your child's brain, which messes with their ability to control their emotions and behavior. This is called emotional dysregulation, and is common in babies and toddlers as they're still learning to control their emotions. Unfortunately, putting an electronic device in their hands and to quiet them is only prolonging these issues and worsening them. We need to stop giving the future generations devices during the crucial years of their development, because the effects may continue throughout their life. The next concern is their social skills. As Aristotle says, man is a social animal, and socializing has a huge effect on youth and children as they grow up. Studies show that early and prolonged exposure to social media content is also linked to risk for antisocial behavior and a decrease in prosocial behavior. If you give your kid a device that holds all their attention, this will diminish the quantity and quality of communication between a parent and child, which can lead to fewer chances for the child to practice language capabilities and social cues. Additionally, social media doesn't help this at all. It fosters superficial relationships and interaction, not based on genuine trust or shared experiences, but instead based on likes and follows. This is especially impactful during the tween and teen years, as kids are starting to find themselves. Online communication also lacks the depth of real face-to-face interaction. When talking in person, information is conveyed through various forms of nonverbal communication, which is defined as communication without words according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. This would include behaviors such as facial expression, tone of voice, eye contact, posture, and body movements. Learning these various social cues is crucial for effective communication, but faceless communication provides none of these. Giving a phone to your child early in life can prevent them from developing this crucial skill in life. The final concern is their cognitive development. Media has been shown to have a negative impact on executive functions in teenagers, especially on working memory, inhibition, and capability to switch between tasks. The Quebec longitudinal study of child development cohort found that a long-lasting connection between early screen media exposure and cognitive abilities, which with each 1 hour increase in TV exposure at 2 years of age corresponding to a 7% unit decrease in participation in class and a 6% unit decrease in math proficiency in the 4th grade. Further, a Spanish research study discovered a negative correlation between the use of social screen media and academic achievement, indicating that increased time was associated with lower academic performance. Social media is likely to decrease time spent studying and also worsen attention span and ability to multitask, all of which could be inhibiting students' ability to perform. Helping your children to learn effectively is crucial for development, but giving them a phone is opening up to a world of procrastination and mistakes, which can lead to poor cognitive development. You should never give your child a phone with full access to the online world because it is setting them up to fail in life. However, it may not all be bad, and there are fixes for many issues. This has brought about 3 counter-arguments that I would like to highlight and refute. These 3 being screen time, staying in contact, and advantages of phones. Screen time is one of those points where it can be hard to control, but if you put forth the effort, then it may help. There's the screen time app built into majority of phones, and there are also apps such as iEasy and Minimalist, which can help monitor screen time and app usage. Then there are devices such as Brick, which locks down your phone until you tap a physical cue that you can put anywhere, allowing you to limit unnecessary usage without temptation. While all these are helpful, they can always be worked around or simply just not put in place. Additionally, with many issues phone usage presents, it's simply being online freely and consistently that leads to the negative effects according to the National Library of Medicine. So while there are things that you can do to limit screen time, some issues may still slip through the cracks. Many parents give their children phones for one big reason, because they want to be able to contact their child if something goes wrong. There's nothing wrong with this, and the world we live in is a wild place, so being able to contact your child at all times is a good choice. However, many parents give their children phones with complete access to the internet, apps, and contact to others, which is where the mistake lies. There are phones which are made to be contact only, allowing only a couple of numbers to be accessible, including emergency services, and that's just about it. This gives all the access required for safety without the risks of a fully fledged phone. On top of this, you should be aware of where your kid is going and whether or not there are adults there who can contact you if necessary. Here at Highlands, we have a no cell phone policy, and it has given us no issues. If a student ever needs to contact their parents, there is always something willing to help them get in contact with the person they need to talk to. This removes the need for students to have their phones on them, which can hinder their ability to learn. The final point, which is the most compelling counter, is that phones can help with education. The internet is a huge place, and it has access to everything, including many good things. This allows your child to learn about interesting things that he may have never thought about beforehand. On top of this, being able to research online for help regarding difficulties is always nice. I have become a good example of this, as I have learned a good amount of interesting and random things off the internet, and it has helped me through math more than once. However, young kids should have no need for this. You should encourage them to ask you about anything, and then you can look it up together if you don't already know. The point is, they don't need their phone when in middle school or younger, because they have you, a parent who they can trust and know that they can talk to and help them through their youthful troubles. We have explored the many effects of phones on young children, from mental health issues such as sleep disruption, causing depression, obesity, lower self-worth, and feelings of inadequacy along with addiction. We saw the cybersecurity risks of excess phone use causing data leaks and opening up opportunities for predators affecting your child's safety. And then we looked into the mental development concerns, primarily on emotional control, maturity, and social skills, all of which are affecting their growth throughout their life. In the end, the issue of how early we give children phones is not just a matter of the various risks. It's not just a matter of the negative effects, as important as those are. No, it's a matter of the future of mankind, of setting up your children well so that they may take on the burden of being an adult and stand as an example to help further humanity. To further humanity isn't just to keep us alive as a race, but to allow us to grow, to create more amazing things, to cure more diseases, and to explore and understand this wonderful universe created by God. It means that we must learn and not be held back by any of our possible shortcomings or habits. To learn and to work harder than the generation before us, and to learn from generations of mistakes. We need to recognize what we need to do to fulfill this burden passed down since the start of time, and set our children up to be able to carry that same burden. And now it is time to learn and work for the future of mankind. We will not allow phones to take over our entire lives and tear us apart from the inside. But we must stand together and show why giving up phones to our children is so bad. In conclusion, I challenge you to take the next step, to be more present with your children and do more as a family, not just hand them a phone. On a personal level, set screen time limits and get off your phone more to lead by example, and don't give your child a screen until they need it. On a familial level, plan a consistent weekly activity as a whole family Support your children through their growth and allow them the freedom to grow. Finally, on a communal level, force your children into social spaces so that they can have friends to hang out with. Create a community you can gather with. All of these mean stepping out, getting away from the comfort of your phone and getting yourself back into the real world. Getting away from laziness and being active, not for a little bit, but actually making a change. In other words, let's not allow phones to pull us away from our humanity.